You are live.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, let's see where we're at now here. We should be live.
Okay, and can you see the chat, Tim?
Um, hang on. I'm looking. Hang on.
Okay. What?
Okay. Okay. Are you able to type in the box there? Let me try something.
You talking to me?
Oh, there it is. Okay. No. Hold on. I had two
Oh,
tabs open,
okay.
so I was getting like a reverb or something. Hello, Miss Pat from Japan.
Yeah, I see Miss Pat's entered the room.
It's so good to have you here. Good morning. It is morning in Japan. Probably tomorrow morning, I would imagine. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear
Marina?
you.
You're kind of frozen up there.
Well, hang on a minute.
Okay. Hello, Michael. Hello, Joe. Good to see you all. Marina has been frozen in time, so I don't know what that's all about.
Well, hang on. Okay, now can you see me?
Yeah, now you're moving.
Okay.
I don't know why you froze up.
I don't know.
It is okay. It's dark and cold in Japan. It is really dreary and rainy here and cold in Alabama. It's a good
It's
day
the
to be
same way
inside.
in Missouri.
It's a good day to be inside. So what's the update from Missouri?
It's cold, it's wet, it's miserable. How are
I didn't mean
things there?
I didn't mean the weather.
Daddy's doing pretty well. He's just very patiently waiting for Friday. So,
Friday is a surgery day.
yes.
Okay. All right. Good deal. All right. Well, I'm gonna see if maybe I can get Kiki over here on camera before we end today. But anyway, it's good to have all of you here. Did you notice last night? I mentioned on a video, I think one day this week, there's a show called Saturday Night Live that I have not seen
Yes.
at least 20 years. But did you see who was on Saturday Night Live last night?
No.
I'm getting some reverb here. I don't know why. Anyway, uh, Nikki Haley was on Saturday Night Live last night.
Oh, okay.
Nikki Haley was on Saturday Night Live. So I don't. First of all, does this mean that Donald Trump gets equal time? Is like a FCC rule or regulation about that?
I don't know.
I would think he'd get equal time, but
I wouldn't want to be around those folks myself were it me.
yeah, me neither. But I didn't see it. I just saw that it was noted in the news. Uh, it's interesting that she's still out and about when she should be out of the race, but she's just hanging in there, like as we say in the South, like a hair in a biscuit.
Or a dog with a bone.
Uh, John says I need earphones. I have some. I'll be right back. Bear with me. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I don't know why you led off with anything about Nikki Haley. Personally, I don't care what the woman does. How are all you folks today? I can see your chat now.
Look who I have.
Oh, did you find Kiki?
Hey, say hello to everybody.
Kiki.
She's asleep. Kiki, say hello to everybody.
She's not gonna.
Oh, well. All right. Well, at least you got to see her. There's Kiki. I'm going to
There's
put
my baby.
you. Okay, I've got earphones, so bear with me while I get them in. That should eliminate the feedback, I think.
Well, Michael, I hope sincerely that you are incorrect, sir.
Come here. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yep,
Okay, much better. Thank you for that, John. I appreciate it. Um,
I
oh,
agree, John.
yeah, thank you for that, John. Let's see here. What else do I want to talk about? Um,
You want to talk about Fannie Willis?
yes, if you're ready to, I do.
Sure, I'll talk about good old Fannie.
All
I
right.
can't believe the people over there in Georgia are putting up with her.
Now, just for everybody that's here that may not know about it, give us a little backstory about Fannie Willis, who she is, where she is, what she's
Well,
done.
she is the current DA in Fulton County, Georgia, and she's the one that's prosecuting former President Trump on RICO charges.
Right.
She's also the one who hired her adulterous lover to be the lead prosecutor in the case and paid him far and above more than everybody else. He's never tried such a case. He's not an expert, but he gets all the money. And then, of course, they take trips to, well, I don't know, a Caribbean cruise. They
Right.
took a trip out to Napa Valley, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, on all this money. So it looks to me like she's guilty of what she's accusing Trump of. um, I do know that Mr. Wade, her adulterous lover, finalized his divorce so that he and Fannie would not have to testify in open court.
Nathan Wade.
Um, Nathan Wade, right. Uh, Plus, I found out a couple of days ago she had a whistleblower in her office who reported to Fannie that one of her aides was misusing grant money, which was meant for gang prevention or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And Fannie fired the whistleblower. She just wasn't good enough for Fannie. She wasn't a team player, don't you know?
Now,
Oh,
the governor of Georgia is Brian Kemp, a Republican.
he's
Uh,
worthless.
as far as I can tell, he has the authority to remove this woman from her office.
As far as I know, yeah.
She's a district attorney, and he's the governor. I looked into this yesterday, and I was wondering, does he not have the authority to remove a district attorney? I know he can remove a sheriff.
Well, if he doesn't, the Congress over there does.
You mean the legislature?
Yeah, legislature over there does.
I believe a representative in the Georgia House has filed uh, articles of impeachment against her or an inquiry into Fannie Willis.
Well, they need to just get rid of her for sure. Well, she's now admitted to the relationship. Did you hear that?
Yes, yes.
And she's also been subpoenaed by the Judiciary Committee in the House of Representatives, U.S. House.
But I don't get that she's. I don't get the sense that she's like remorseful about this at all.
Well, of course not. She's in cahoots with Soros and Biden. Those people have no conscience. They are incapable of remorse.
Yeah.
So don't hold your breath for that.
I also just saw. Are you done with that?
Yep.
I also just saw, and I had it written down, and it's over in a chair. I don't want to get back up. That Mike Johnson has apparently asked for X number of millions of dollars for Israel
Of course.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, I saw it.
You know, when Johnson, hang on, Tracy just showed up and she's late. Tracy, it's a 10-point deduction from your running total. So we're watching you. Tracy's son is in Jamaica. I'm slightly jealous.
No, you're totally jealous.
Anyway, I didn't know, like I guess
Hi,
most Americans,
Tracy.
like most Americans, I did not know anything about Mike Johnson other than he was from Louisiana when he became Speaker of the House. But when he was making his introductory comments after being sworn in, like within the first paragraph, he's talking about American support for the state of Israel. And I'm thinking to myself, what did we just do? Um, and since that time, I have seen no, I don't see any difference to speak of in Mike Johnson and in McCarthy, his predecessor. I don't know how much difference there is with Pelosi and Mike Johnson, to be quite honest with you. I just don't get it.
I I don't either. And at the beginning they were all touting his Christian worldview
Right.
every chance they got, and I'm thinking this man obviously knows nothing about Christianity. But then never mind. I could say a whole book on that. But here we go. Here we are.
Well, look, I've done videos on this before, and there's a very popular view among American and Western evangelicals
Mm.
that the physical state, the modern day state of Israel, is somehow the elect of God or chosen by God, and if you'll just do a modicum of study about the history of Christianity, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here, but Christians have historically not seen that as being the case at all. The geographical land of Israel as somehow being God's chosen people or something like that. The Christians historically have seen.
Well, John is right. It's the Schofield Bible stuff.
He's exactly right. I did a video on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's, you
Hi,
know,
Bonita.
but hey, Bo. Uh, but anyway, I don't know how much of an improvement Mike Johnson is. I would really love to get a speaker in there that it has got some. How can I say this politely? Got a
Spine.
spine. Got a spine. It's interesting to me that it seems like the people in Congress that have the most spine, if you will, are the ladies. People like Marjorie Taylor
Right.
Greene,
Or Bobert or
Coburn. I'm not a
Nancy Mace or, yeah, I know.
Stefanik, perhaps.
Perhaps. I hear she's in the running for VP for Trump.
Well, that kind of segues into what I wanted to talk to you about, because I wanted to get your thoughts on the VP sweepstakes and what you have heard or what you have read about such a thing.
Well, he has said that he wants a female. I personally, I'm offended by that because
Wait a minute. Trump said he won't. When did he say this?
some months ago.
Is that
Anyway,
whatever?
and all the talking heads on his side of things say it would be good for him to choose a female. I don't well, the reason why I say I'm offended by that is because I'm not so silly a person that I think that just because somebody's female, she's the best man for the job. We've seen how well that ideology works out. And so I'm a little bit offended by that. I'm not
Well,
saying Elise Stefanik wouldn't be a good VP, but I also like Tucker and I like Vivek, but I don't know.
well, look, John Mann, thank you for the comment, John. John just made a great point, and I was going to get to this today. I was going to ask, have you heard who is in Moscow to interview Putin?
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson is in Moscow to interview Putin, apparently. And John just commented, with Tucker in Russia, an impending Putin interview sort of takes him out of the vice presidential talk.
Well, that's true.
That's not a bad point because, of course, as we all know, in American politics, we're all supposed to be Putin haters and Russia haters. So
Yeah.
Tucker has the nerve and the gall to go over there and actually sit down and talk to the man, which is, of course, what we should be doing anyway. But
Mm.
I'd be cool with Tucker, but Vivek would be my top choice. I don't know. Aside from them, I've heard Ben Carson. I've heard Stefanik.
I don't like Ben Carson. I never have.
No, he's just. It's like you want to just shake him and say, "Wake up, Ben."
Yeah.
I think Vivek would be an excellent choice. He has at least got to play a role in the administration, as I do too, Tracy. We have Russian friends.
As far as the states thinking about a return to a time when the states had more power, I would love that idea. We were talking the other day about how our representatives in the House of Representatives should get their paycheck from their state and not from the federal government. That way, if they're not doing what we sent there to do, we would have more control over the situation. But of course, that would require an amendment to the Constitution. So, that'll never get done.
Well, the states at one time did appoint their senators.
Well, yeah, I realize that. But that was changed a gazillion years back.
Yeah. I do like Vivek a lot. I would also, I don't hear his name being bandied about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not mind seeing Rand Paul as vice
As
president.
as VP.
Yeah.
The only problem with Rand, I mean, I think he's a good man and he's got good ideas, but he's as eloquent as a goldfish.
I think he's more eloquent than his dad.
Well, that's not much of a horse race. I mean, come on.
Keep talking. I'll be right back. I'm
Okay.
not going far.
No, I like Rand as a person and even as a senator, but he's just so dull. Lord have mercy.
Come here, you silly girl.
Oh, he's got the cat.
You silly girl. There she is. There she is.
Now, Michael, why would we want Trump to pick
everybody.
Jared Kushner?
Did that come through?
Yeah.
Did you see her?
Honey, I can't see when I've got the comments turned on.
Oh, okay. All right.
So don't worry about Kiki.
Finally got her on camera. All right, where were we? With Rand Paul or Vivek or?
Well, we just got past Rand Paul because I said he's not eloquent at all.
Really?
Well, in this day and time, you've got to be able to appeal to the emotions of the public because that's what most of them think with. And if you can't connect with the emotions of folks, then you're just not a very good speaker. So here we are.
I don't know of any. There was a time that presidents would select their vice president based on whether or not the vice president could deliver a state for them, or that was the thinking anyway. I know when Kennedy selected Johnson, the thinking was, and they didn't like each other at all, but the thinking was that Johnson would deliver Texas for Kennedy, where he wasn't all that popular. I don't know if that happened or not, but I don't know if that's so true anymore. I don't know if it matters that much anymore.
In the internet age, I don't think it does. I really don't.
Because you remember when Gore ran against Bush, Gore lost Tennessee, his home state.
Right.
And I don't think that's so odd anymore that would happen. That's happened recently with somebody else, but I can't remember who. And, of course, the primary that's coming up, is it this Tuesday in South Carolina?
I believe so. And I also heard that Nikki is polling way down in her home state.
And Trump is going to win South Carolina, almost certainly.
Yep.
Another name I heard mentioned for vice president is Tim Scott of South Carolina. I'm not that impressed with him, but I guess that's a possibility.
I'm not all that impressed with him either.
Tracy is asking what happens if Biden dies before the election.
Then
Kamala.
we get Kamala.
Yeah, she's next in line. Can you
Yeah.
imagine? Can you imagine cackling Cammy? I think the Democrats are in somewhat of a pickle because I don't think any of them, the ones in the portals of power, won't. They don't know what to do with Kamala. Is my thinking.
Well, they don't know what to do with either one of them, as that James O'Keefe's latest video shows. They all know that Biden is demented and that nobody wants Kamala, but they can't get rid of her. You know, for logistical reasons. And I mean,
Does
here we are.
because you maintain they cannot get rid of her, does that then make sense? I know we're grasping perhaps at straws, but I mean, look,
Hmm.
anything's possible in American politics. But would that possible would it possibly mean what I've kind of been saying in so far as the powers that be in the Democratic Party or the powers that be in the bureaucratic structure of Washington, D.C. would all, whether they admit it publicly or not, would be fine with Nikki Haley as president. And
Well,
if they
yeah.
and if they support Nikki Haley, and if it turns if somehow they got rid of Trump and somehow Biden made it to the election and it turned out to be Haley versus Biden, and Haley wins, I have maintained that the deep state, if you will, would be perfectly happy with Nikki Haley, although some
Well,
of
of
them wouldn't say it
course.
publicly, because you basically get the same policies.
Well, she's a Democrat in rhino clothing.
No,
How's
she is.
how's that for a metaphor?
Well, I mean, just look at her philosophy, look at her policy. I mean, she is definitely a neocon, just like almost everybody anymore in Washington politics.
Right.
I mean, she's like the
They've
female.
never they've never met a war they didn't love. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's a female John McCain is what
that's what
she is.
that's what I was going to say. John McCain,
Hmm.
from the same state as Lindsey McCain Graham, of course.
As
But
John points out, she's all in for the WEF
yeah,
ideology.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. She is. She
hmm
is. I mean, it would just be a continuation of what we've had for
right.
uninterrupted since at least the year 2000, and no earlier than that. Papa Bush was in office in '88. Actually, he succeeded Reagan in '88.
And I hated that.
And well, I hated that Reagan picked him, and I have maintained that that's the worst mistake Ronald Reagan made was selecting George H.W. Bush as his vice president. On the other hand, I believe it's been established by many people familiar
Joe,
with
you're
the
right. Hmm.
that at the convention of 1980 that
Hmm.
Reagan was. I have heard and read in various places that Reagan was essentially pulled into a room and said, "If you want to be president, you're going to make Bush your vice president." And one of the people that was in that meeting I've heard was Walter Cronkite.
Oh, I'm not surprised by that at all.
And I was all of 19 years old. I remember that very well. I was watching conventions in the 60s before I was 10 years. I remember the 68 convention in Chicago when I was 7 years old. And
See,
that's the year.
I was more into cartoons at that age. So,
68 is when we got Nixon versus Humphrey,
yeah,
who was Johnson's vice president. That's the year that Bobby Kennedy was running for president and was
yeah.
doing very well before he got shot in California. And then LBJ came out, and that's when he gave his speech where he said he was not going to run. And he put in Humphrey, who was his vice president.
Well, I
And
remember being in the first grade and we had a mock election, as schools are wont to do. And I voted for Nixon in '68 because he and his wife had the same names as my parents. So
what were their daughters' name? One was Julie.
I don't know. I
Trish.
don't know.
Trish. Trish.
Trish.
Julie
Okay.
and Trish, and Patricia was Pat Nixon.
Yes.
She always seemed like a real long-suffering woman to me.
Well, obviously.
I thought Nixon was pretty good, except he removed us from the gold standard. That wasn't good.
No, and he did that with an executive order, and I wish somebody would rescind that executive order.
Why couldn't they? I mean,
Well,
I just wish that somebody would do something about the Federal Reserve. But,
well, I wish we'd
you
end
know,
the Federal Reserve.
Trump said coming into office last time he was going to release all of the JFK files, and he didn't do it.
Right.
So, he wasn't perfect. He was better than the alternative, but he certainly wasn't perfect.
Mm, I never did like any of the Bushes, as
Oh,
you well know, because
I
you and
said
I had our first political argument over one of the Bushes.
I was talking about Trump, not Bush.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the Bushes, I guess.
Yeah, no, I was saying Trump said he was going to release the FBI files.
And he should have done it.
Yeah, he should have. He absolutely should have.
Let the American people see all the BS we've put up with over the last 60 years.
Yep.
So,
John is talking about BRICS, which is an acronym, if I'm not mistaken, for Brazil, Russia, India, and China, I believe, which
and,
is basically,
Saudi Arabia, isn't it?
yeah, I believe it is, and that's basically an economic alliance among those major players.
Yeah.
It would be a counter, I suppose, to the dollar as reserve
Well, and
currency.
they've all been buying gold hand over fist for months now, if
Yeah,
not years.
yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Swellen.
anyway, if you were a betting woman and you had to place your bet on who Trump is going to select, who would you put all your tokens on?
I would say it would be Elise Stefanik.
I
It,
am afraid you may be right about that, but I don't want her.
who do you want?
I
You want
already said
Vivek, right?
he's my number one choice, yeah.
Right.
But I've heard Stefanik's name mentioned. I think there's going to be pressure for whatever from wherever on Trump to select a woman. I don't know that's the case. I'm assuming that.
Right.
Um,
Well,
but
that's what I've been hearing for quite a while now.
I've heard her name quite a bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not
Hi,
anti.
Catherine.
I'm not anti Elise Stefanik, but she wouldn't be my first pick. I would rather.
Well,
I would rather have
I,
Carrie Lake actually, if we're going to go with a woman.
yeah, I like Carrie Lake as well. They're both very erudite and quick on their feet, quick thinking. I do like that about the both of them.
Yeah,
I just disagree with Miss Stefanik on some issues, which, of course, I know I'm not ever going to find anybody I agree with 100%, not even you. And
what?
yeah, it's true, hon. I'm sorry you had to learn it this way.
I've got a
But
name.
anyway.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it may be good to have Stefanik, given as how she's already established and how hard she fought for him when he was being impeached.
Yeah,
Things of that nature. Plus, she brings the a large part of the state of New York with her.
yeah.
So
I've
that's my
I,
only thinking there.
I've got a name for you.
Who?
How about this? How about this person as vice president? Can you think of? Let's talk about Liz Cheney for a moment. I'm not saying Liz Cheney is vice president.
Oh God, no.
Can you think of? We all know good old Liz Cheney, daughter of Dick the Bruiser, neocon extraordinaire,
Yeah,
absolutely loathes Donald Trump with a relish, with a passion.
yeah.
And of course, she she has flirted with the idea of running, I suppose, as a third party candidate herself, which is fine with me. Go for it. We can humiliate you again. But how about this name? If you're looking at what name would hair lip, as you say, Liz Cheney more than anybody else for Trump to select this person? Think about it for a minute.
Oh, Hageman?
Harriet Hageman. Harriet Hageman, who beat Liz Cheney handily in Utah for her
Yeah.
seat in Congress. Wouldn't it just be poetic justice if Trump selected Harriet Hageman as his vice president?
That would be pretty good.
It might be worth it just to get the reaction out of Liz Cheney.
Well, Liz Cheney is the Hillary Clinton of the Republican Party.
That's exactly who she is.
You know, I'm glad
That's
she's
exactly who
gone.
she is. Oh, I can't. I don't understand what happens to these people like Liz Cheney. I can remember a day and age when I thought Dick Cheney, he'd be Dick the Bruiser. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got that.
you and I think he was the first political argument that you and I ever had because you were defending him and I was saying what a dog he was and how evil he was way back in the
Yeah,
day.
I got my feelers hurt.
Yes, you did.
When
I don't know why.
Marina and I first met, I was believe it or not, but it's the truth. I was a Dick Cheney, George W. Bush, neoconservative, and I
Yes, you
absolutely.
were.
This was around the time of 9/11, and I absolutely subscribed to the Bush doctrine, which was go all over the world and hit them hard so they can't hit us, which is absurd on the face, of course. And it was not
Right.
until about 06, I guess, 07, when I discovered Dr. Ron Paul, and I began a political transformation from a neocon. I'm not a full-blown libertarian. I'm actually, don't tell anybody this, I'm actually more of a monarchist. Um,
But that's likely to never happen in this country.
not in America. Not in
No.
America. Now, if I move back to Wales, the place of my ancestry, that might be more of my liking. Anyway, but anyway, I had somewhat of a political conversion, which at least pulled me away from neoconservatism into a place where I am absolutely dead set against unjustified, unlawful, unconstitutional wars. And I believe that I echo the founders of the country when I say no entangling alliances overseas. We should mind our own business and mind our own borders and not get involved in all these other countries with their affairs, such as Ukraine.
I agree.
Yeah. And I am a fiscal tightwad conservative, maybe not personally, but nationally.
Well, we won't have that discussion here.
But I have. I wonder if I don't know if this has happened in recent years, um, but I have in mind the balanced budget amendment. Do you know anything about this?
Are they talking about it again?
Have you heard anybody talking about it at all?
No, no, I have not. Well, I mean, I hear some of the firebrands, saying that we need to balance the budget and we need to get these budget proposals through the Congress instead of doing the omnibus and whatever. And of course, they never do it. So here we are. But I don't think any of them are serious about it. I really don't.
I'm assuming there's a fair number of states in the United States that have such a provision in their constitutions,
In
which
their state constitutions?
which require them to have a balanced budget on the state
Oh,
level.
right. I'm sure there are.
I know here in Alabama they're actually running a surplus. If you can believe this, folks, we actually got a rebate this year from the state of Alabama, a whopping, how much was it, honey? $300?
Yeah.
Yeah, a whopping $300
I said that'll pay for groceries for a week.
because the state of Alabama basically had a surplus of, I know it was at least $2 billion. And one of the legislature said, I got a bright idea. Why don't we give that money back to the taxpayers? And the governor basically said, oh, okay, but not as
Yeah.
much as you're saying. It was
Meemaw
initially,
relented. Yeah.
yeah, it was initially going to be around $1,000, but they whittled that down considerably.
That's what negotiations are for, is for whittling.
Yeah. How many of you Americans have got your taxes done yet?
Not I.
Ours are due in April, I think, the 15th.
Yes.
Yeah. Got to do it. Don't have much choice. So anyway, I think I don't know when Tucker's interview with Putin is going to air, but I am really looking forward to hearing that.
Well, you're going to have to subscribe to his network, which I have no problem with doing.
You can probably find it on YouTube eventually. But I think that John posted earlier, and I think he's probably right. This is going to Moscow to interview Putin. It's going to make a lot of people in the portals of power howl if Trump did select Tucker as his vice president.
Oh, and yeah.
If I you know, I kind of get the impression that Tucker, and this may be completely off base, it very well may be, but I kind of get the impression that if there's anybody that Trump could ask to be his vice president that would tell him no, it just might be Tucker.
Well, that's a good point.
I mean, what would be the motivation other than power? I mean, you know, I
don't think Tucker's after power.
No, I don't either. That's the thing. It would definitely be a pay cut for him.
Definitely.
I just don't know that he'd be interested in that. He may. I mean, Trump could come to him and say, Tucker, you know, we really need you. Your country is calling you, and maybe he'd do it. I don't know, but I just got the idea that Tucker may really not be interested. I don't know that.
I really don't think he is. I think he's completely happy with life the way it is at the moment, and I don't blame him.
Another name I've heard mentioned is Byron Donalds of Florida.
Yeah.
He is a Black American in Congress, and his name was mentioned for Speaker of the House quite often the last time that they were voting on one.
Well,
but I don't know. I don't consider him a very weighty candidate. You know, Trump may pull a ringer. He may pull a name out that nobody's thinking about. I've also heard another name mentioned, but I cannot possibly see Trump doing this.
Who?
Not Nikki Haley. I would be stunned. I would be stunned if Trump picked Haley.
Ugh. I would be too.
I'm wondering if it's a scenario where they do a Reagan to Trump and basically say you're going to pick her. I don't know that they could. I don't know about these backroom deals.
Well, the thing is that right now the RNC, it's not like Trump is full-heartedly affiliated with the RNC at the moment, nor they with him for that matter. But they're broke, and it's all because of Ronna McDaniel. They're doing nothing to get out the vote. There was a call for her to step down. There's been several calls for her to step down, and she won't. Yeah, I mean, and they're part of the people, I think they are part of the group of people who wanted Carrie Lake to sit out for 2 years and tried to bribe her into doing it. I can't prove that, of course, but that's just my ideas on the matter.
All we can do is speculate, but that's what we do. That's
right.
The game of politics. But anyway, what I was getting to, what would you think? What would your reaction be? And I really don't think this is going to happen, but you know, Trump is a loose cannon at times.
You think?
He's not the most predictable person. You could predict that he's unpredictable and he's
Yeah.
going to do something. I mean, I didn't see him picking Pence,
Oh
uh,
God.
and
When
Lord,
he did, I was
I
like,
wish
"What are
he
you
had.
doing, dude?"
I know. I
Yeah.
mean, how non-Trump was that,
Ugh,
right?
yeah. Totally non-Trump as it turned out.
How would you react if Donald Trump selected Bobby Kennedy Jr.?
Uh, I don't think that's a good idea.
Nor
Bobby
do
is
I.
just far too liberal.
Well, he's a Democrat. He's running as
Well,
an independent now.
he tries to pass himself off as a populist, but he's not.
He 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 has told the truth about the vaccines.
Mm,
He's been good on that.
mm.
I think he's good on the border, but I'm not sure. Do you know?
I don't know exactly where he stands. I think he's flip flopped on the border issue.
But if you get past, well, maybe so. He is good on the COVID hoax, the jab, the big pharma. He's good on
Well,
that.
but I
But
think
once
we need someone that's more than just a one trick pony.
no, that's my point. When you blow all that away, when you blow the good away, there's still a whole lot of bad because he's still a leftist. I mean, that's just the
Oh
bottom
yeah.
line. He is a Kennedy. He is a Kennedy,
After
like
all,
his
after
dad,
all.
and like Teddy,
Mm,
he's a Kennedy, and we can't forget that.
yeah. And what about this new child tax credit that's going on? It's just welfare by another name, is all that
Uh,
is.
I saw something about that. What do you know about it? And
Well, they're increasing the child tax credit. I can't remember. It's another Keynesian stimulus BS move. They're just going to pump more money um, into the market. It's going to cause more inflation. It's going to be a mess.
did Trump or does Trump not endorse this?
I don't. I haven't heard him endorse this, but I know the people who, well, for instance, like on Bannon's War Room, they were talking about it, and it's going to be a fiasco. I mean, it might be the thing that breaks the camel's back because they also intend to allow illegals to file tax papers here. And so, all of those people will get a tax credit for their umpteenth children, you know, and that's not fair, not right, not fair.
Well, our entire system of taxation is unfair.
Agreed.
It pits groups against each other.
I heard Ted Cruz is calling for a flat 5% tax across the board.
That's fine with me.
It would be very fine with me.
That's fine with
5%.
me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
how would he see it collected?
I have
As
no idea.
I think he's also called for the banning of the IRS. Um, but you could ban the IRS tomorrow, but you're still going to have a tax collecting agency in
Yeah,
government, even if you ban the
of course
IRS.
you are, because there'll be so many people who won't pay it.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I think I knew a family that had 10 kids.
Right?
You know who I'm talking about.
I sure do.
And come tax time, this is the truth. Come tax time, they would make full use of the earned income. What is it called? The earned EITC, the earned income tax credit.
I don't
Is
know.
is that the deduction you get for per child or the per child tax
No,
credit?
that's the child credit.
So they every year they'd file their taxes and go to Disney World.
Mercy.
Oh my goodness. I don't know where we're going to stand with our taxes this year, but no matter how good it is, how good it turns out, I don't see us going to Disney World with it anyway.
Not ever again. Are you kidding me?
Y'all need to know something about Marina. She loves Disney World. Isn't that true?
No, she does not. I went one time and that was one time too many. It's a giant shopping mall with screaming children.
I took her to Disney World a few years back, and It did not go well.
Worst vacation ever. Except that I got to see the grandkids. I mean, that was nice.
Yeah, that was nice. But anyway, okay. So I think we've decided we don't want Trump to select Bobby Kennedy. Anyway,
No, no, he's not my pick.
can you think of any other name? I've got a name I'm going to mention in a minute. But could you think of?
I would love Matt Gates. I would truly love Matt Gates.
I don't know if Trump would do that.
I don't know why not.
Uh, First of all, would somebody have to change their residency?
I don't know.
They're both from Florida now, right?
I know, but you know,
I mean, it's not a
nobody else,
big. It's not a big deal.
nobody else follows the friggin' rules.
Do you think Trump would reach back and uh, fire up his romance with Ron DeSantis again?
Well, now that Ron has endorsed him and everything, you know how Trump is. Everything is transactional with him. He doesn't stay emotional with these people. Uh,
That's an excellent point.
so I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that'll matter.
Somebody
That's
asked him after
politics, you know.
after DeSantis got out if Trump was going to retire DeSanctimonious,
And he
and
did.
he said, "It's retired. It's retired."
Yeah,
That
because
always
like I told you from the beginning when he first started dogging DeSantis and you didn't like it, not one little bit. And I said, it is just politics, son. It's not that he doesn't like DeSantis, but he's going to keep him from getting anywhere by stepping on his toes early.
well
That's I told
hindsight
you.
hindsight being 2020. When you look back now, DeSantis never had a prayer.
No,
He
no,
never
he
had a
didn't.
prayer.
No.
Um, but another name I think might warrant some consideration is Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. Senator Ron
Eh,
Johnson of Wisconsin. I think he's a pretty decent senator. I don't know how familiar you are with him.
I'm not all that familiar with him.
Yeah, he's a fairly conservative. Uh, Let me see if I can catch up. Are you able to read comments?
Yeah, I can turn them back on. I have to turn them off ever so often because my
Well,
screen goes fuzzy.
I don't know if there's something that we need to respond to, or if we got any questions or anything. Somebody asked about the junior senator from Alabama. Lord heaven forbid that. Who said that? That was
That's Katie Britt, isn't it?
Joe. That's Katie Britt. We don't want Katie Britt. Katie Britt is like a younger version of Nikki Haley when you get right down to it. That's
Mm,
that's 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 Katie Britt in a nutshell. We had a senator from Alabama for years by the name of Richard Shelby. He was just think Bush. That's what he was. And Katie
yeah.
Britt was on his staff, and he had this massive war chest that he basically made available to him when he announced his retirement and endorsed Katie Britt. We had another guy running for the seat by the name of Mo Brooks, and Mo is a really good guy. Mo was a congressman from northern Alabama, and he was running for Senate, but he didn't have the support of the GOP.
Right.
And quite frankly, he didn't have Trump's support. He did initially, but Trump turned on him and
Yep.
supported Britt, who won the thing. Mo Brooks is a guy. All of you may well remember. I'll get to that in a minute, Jack. All of you may well remember the shooting at the ballpark when at the
Yes.
Republican baseball game.
Yes, I remember that.
Mo Brooks was there that day. He didn't get shot, but he was there that day
Right.
rendering aid. Mo would have made a terrific senator from Alabama, but the big
I
machine
think
got
so. Yeah.
but the big machine got behind perky Katie Britt, and so here we are. But she got the money.
Joe
Um,
said Mo Brooks was a bit squirrely. Well, good Lord, everybody in
I don't,
Alabama is a bit squirrely.
I don't know that you're wrong, Joe. I don't know that you're wrong. Jack wants to know, what do you think about Marjorie Taylor Greene for vice president?
I like Marjorie Taylor to stay in Georgia. I don't think we need two hotheads in the White House. I really don't. I want something that someone who is a bit more demure um, than just going off the handle every time one turns around. So that's my thinking on Marjorie.
Yeah, I think she has her role where she is.
I do too. I think she needs to keep Congress riled up.
I just don't know that
She's
she.
one of the only ones over there who's willing to get anything done.
Yeah, Joe is correct. He says that, and I didn't understand this at the time. I mean, I do, but I don't. That Marjorie Taylor Greene supported McCarthy.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was against that move as well. Of
uh,
course, I was against them electing McCarthy from the get go. So,
yeah, but we haven't improved since he left. I don't think McCarthy is running for re-election, or so I have heard. I think he's announced he's stepping away from Congress. Period.
I thought he was already out.
Well, I think he's still in Congress, isn't he?
No, I think he left. I could be wrong, but I thought he left.
Hmm. Is is Pelosi running for re-election, or is she
Oh,
stepping out?
God. She'll run for re-election even when she's dead. Are you kidding me?
She's what, 104 years old now?
She looks 104. Yeah.
I mean, if that's the best you can do, San Francisco, that's pitiful. Nancy Pelosi, another one of these people who comes into office with modest wealth, and now years later she is a multi-millionaire. And the
Oh,
aunt
yes.
of Gavin Newsom.
Yes.
And maybe we should say a word about Gavin Newsom, because I know that there had been some scuttlebutt about Newsom running for office. I don't know
Well,
that.
I would love to stay and chat with you about that, but it's time for me to fix my daddy's dinner or supper.
Oh, okay. I understand. I understand. Okay.
I'm
Well,
sorry about that.
that's okay. We shall bid you adieu. Everybody say goodbye to Marina.
Bye, everybody. It was good to be here today. I
Do
miss
I,
all you guys.
yeah. Do I kick you out, or do you kick yourself out?
I think I'm going to kick myself out. I'll see you later, babe.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right. It's just me now running the show. So anyway, I was saying that Gavin Newsom, I know a lot of Democrats would love to replace Biden with Newsom. Uh, I don't, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not sure Newsom is all that popular, to be honest with you. I don't think I need these now that Marina's gone. So I don't think I see that happening. Let me see if I have missed any questions. And there, the elephant in the room. Um, I don't know what to make of this either, you guys, but Michelle Obama. You keep hearing the name Michelle Obama. Is Michelle Obama going to get into the race? Uh, you know, you can't believe a lot of what you read, because I will read. I read a lot of different sources for news. I'll share that with you in a minute. But among the things I've read are that she doesn't want it. I don't know that. I don't know how much I believe that. But you've got the problem of Kamala being in the way, because if you get Biden out of the way, then naturally Kamala would slide into that position. And she is a terrible candidate. And that's why one of my theories is that I think that Nikki Haley is probably the one that the deep state has their eye on. That they would be fine with Nikki Haley, I believe. I think Miss Pat is leaving from Japan. Goodbye, Miss Pat. I'm glad you were here. So anyway, I don't know. This is the year. Thankfully, this is potentially the last year we have to suffer under Joe Biden. The election is what now? 10 months away, November. So in less than a year, we could potentially be swearing in a new president. And at this point in time, you have to hope that it's Donald Trump, and I hope it's Vivek by his side, but we shall see. I don't know. I would not be unhappy if Trump selected Rand Paul. I would not be unhappy, although I don't think he would. I don't know that he would do it if he selected Tucker. I kind of like Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. I think he's a pretty good guy. I think that Tracy over here in the chat, I think she's supporting Ilhan Omar for president. Tracy, is that correct? Did I read that somewhere that you want Ilhan Omar? I don't know if that's come through or not. She might reach through the computer screen and slap me when she sees that. Did that? I don't know if that came through or not. Let me see. If it did, she'll say something about that, I'm sure. Tracy over in the chat is from Minnesota. And I don't think she likes the fact that Ilhan Omar is from her home state. I don't like the fact that Ilhan Omar is in our home country. Well, she's not from your home state, actually. She's she invaded your state from Somalia thanks to Barack Obama. So, yeah. 10 months to dodge a false flag event that gives the Biden cabal reason to declare a national emergency and cancel the elections. We're dealing with psychopaths. John, you're exactly right. I would not put that past anybody in this administration or in this government. Some sort of, false flag event that would keep Trump out of office. I have done videos dealing with how I believe the deep state, the unelected and elected bureaucrats in and around the Beltway, how they are trying to derail Donald Trump. And I think it's obvious that they're trying to do it through the justice system now with all these legal maneuverings in the courts. And if that fails, they probably have another option. And you can figure out what that might be. But one of those options could be a false flag event, which somehow keeps Biden in office. Just saying. I don't know. But I just, God help us if Biden wins re-election. I just hope and pray that doesn't happen. How about this idea? How about people who pay taxes get 2 votes? How about people that are on the government dole don't get to vote? How about that idea? I don't know. Just saying. Could we at least agree that dead people shouldn't be voting? Nullification. I did a video on that the other day, Joe. Absolutely. Nullify. That's exactly what should happen. That's nullification is exactly what Texas should do. They should nullify the recent Supreme Court decision that says they've got to cut this fence down. Just nullify. All that Abbott has to do is call a session of the Texas legislature into session and vote to nullify. That's all they got to do. There is precedent for this. Yes, I agree with you, John. Trump's not going to pay this woman anything. That's not going to happen. I don't. All these cases against Trump, all of them are just so frivolous. They're just so meaningless. They have no substance to them whatsoever. So I just don't see. I don't see the court process that Trump is embroiled in taking him out. I just don't. He can always appeal. Trump's got money. So, yeah. Well, Texas is technically, I guess you would say, a republic. I'm not, I don't have any problem with the idea of secession. Then again, I'm a Southern boy, so that's understandable. Anyway. Those cases are ludicrous. You're right, Tracy. And speaking of ludicrous, last December, my son took me to the Georgia Tech football game in Atlanta, and we didn't realize when we got there, but there was a block party, and the entertainer on the block party was ludicrous. So here's this 62-year-old white man standing in the street listening to ludicrous. Now that was funny right there. That was a hoot. But anyway. Okay, guys, it's been about an hour, so I think I'm going to call it. I thank all of you so much for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll have to do it again. But thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. I don't know if you can like a live video or not. I'm not sure. Maybe you can. But if you can like it, like it. I think you can. I think you can like a live video. But if you want to go back and if you missed any part of this, you want to go back and watch it, when you go to the YouTube page, this will be archived, and you just look under the live tab and you can watch it again. And if I missed your question, and I probably did because it's hard to watch the screen and watch the chat at the same time. I did the best I could, but maybe one day we'll get a monitor or something who'll let me know what people are saying. But if I missed a question, I apologize. I'll try and get to it and maybe address it in an upcoming video. All right, it is Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, and it's time for this old carnivore diet dude to go make his supper. I think I'm going to have some mahi for supper. So I've got to go over here and fix it. I've got it laid out on the counter thawing. I got to get to it before Kiki finds it. Hey, thanks for coming, everybody. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you probably tomorrow. Have a great week, and thanks for coming. Bye-bye now.